Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out big news. Guys, for those of you who are bullish or starting to believe in the future of clean hydrogen, you're going to love this interview. And that's because, according to a recent Deloitte study, achieving net zero greenhouse emissions by 2050 is going to require the development of clean hydrogen market equivalent to 170 million tons by 2030, just around the corner. However, here's the massive problem. As of 2021, less than 1 million tons of hydrogen demand out of a total of 94 million tons came from low emission sources, with the rest produced by fossil fuels, and that kind of defeats the purpose. So that's where HPQ Silicon come in, because along with their France-based affiliate Novacium, they've developed a low carbon, on-demand, autonomous hydrogen production system. It stands out for its capacity to reimagine hydrogen production. And why? Because unlike traditional electrolysis-based hydrogen production system, this one operates without the need for electricity, extensive storage, complex transportation. We've seen that for hydrogen, making it a truly autonomous solution. And more than just lip service, here's a press release today: signature of a three-party MOU on the commercialization of the hydrogen production system. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I was just
you got so
listening.
much going on. You can't even pay attention during the intro. You're looking at five different places. Is there another deal that's come across the table?
Yeah, but I was just going through the numbers you were given, and I just wanted to double check, because I know the source was me, so I just wanted to double check the number you said about the size. It sounded smaller, but it's actually, it's 600 million tons by 2050 and 170 million tons. Okay.
107 million tons by 2030. I got my numbers right. Our
okay,
bottom line is
I'm checking. I am checking to make sure that the information we give our shareholders and our investors is accurate. I went to the source.
Bottom line is the world is going to need a lot, and there's not enough, and you're hoping to fill that gap. So here's the first one I got for you. Okay. Right out of the press release, the goal of this three-party agreement is to introduce Novacium, the new environmentally friendly high-pressure hydrogen production system, to French defense industry companies. So defense, in the last couple of press releases, seems to have become the overriding theme on your hydrogen initiative. Why is that?
Well, because defense usually have very big budgets for R&D and innovation, and what we're developing meets an effective battlefield requirement. All right, it actually does meet that. So it's important that we present ourselves to the right forum where we can discuss the situation, and that's exactly what it is. It's you can't be a jack of all trades and do everything well. So you got to be able to get the right consultants, people, team members that will get you at the right person, and be able for us to go immediately present. People click on the link to the website. It is a serious group. It's one of those groups that recuperate all the industrial in the military space. And I can tell you from discussion we've had that just starting to bring the discussion has re-attracted interest in a certain way, without breaking any type of secrets. The potential of hydrogen in the battlefield, has been known, but the inconvenience with the manufacturing, storage, transportation of hydrogen was such that it was sort of said, yeah, it's a nice too, but we don't figure out a way to do it. And then with the solution that Novacium is doing it, there is now a pathways to delivering this, and that's what we're working on.
And you had talked about this and this is for the benefit of people who are new and just discovering this interview either today, next week, next month. In 30 seconds, if you can kind of revisit again, because last week we had diagrams, all that from your deck, but you basically explained what the problem is with hydrogen right now in any defense theater versus what you might be able to deliver. So maybe give us a 30-second, 30,000-foot overview so people can get that light bulb as to why you are so applicable to defense.
Well, the bottom line is one of the applications that's looked at in the war in Ukraine has sort of showed us that drones are now very important on the battlefield. Second issue is that the most efficient drones are the ones that are going to have a mixture of hydrogen and I think it's hydrogen cell to convert that hydrogen into electricity. The issue is that all of the design for those type of energy cell is based on using pressurized hydrogen. The problem is bringing pressurized hydrogen to the battlefield is impossible. It's impossible. So it has to be manufactured in an autonomous way on the battlefield. And that's where one of the primary application it is. And it's going to be, like often it is, a technology is being developed with a great military application that then has fantastic civilian application. For us, the civilian application are also as big, even probably bigger. But it gives us an access, a way to finance this development for a company like Novacium. Even though it's part of the HPQ group, it's still going to be an extensive project to finance. So as early as we can, start looking at signing additional deals with other larger scale player that will have an interest for their own field of application. I'll give an example. Somebody has a trucking type of situation where our hydrogen can be useful for them. Well, then we can go develop on this. The application for what we're doing are multiple, are massive. So we have to stay focused. So instead of us trying to do everything, which we've learned doesn't really work well, we prefer to have the right partners in line. And LN INNOV fits into this. It's a new entity that was created by people with a strong background in the industry. That opens up door for us that will be difficult for me in Canada to open in France, and even for guys in Novacium, because they're pretty busy with everything we have to do right now.
And to that end, you're hitting the ground running, because I'm going to read from press release again. Novacium to present its hydrogen solution to a group of French industrials. That's at the next energy working group meeting at the end of September. What is that? Who is there? And what's the significance of being invited? Because from what it seems like from the press release there, I can't just show up as a Gorecom and pay to get in, and I get in. It sounds like you got to be invited. So let's talk about what is there, what it is, who's there, and the significance of being invited.
Well, people can click on the website and go. It's basically the French Land Defense and Security Industry Association. It's a trade industry, okay, for the French industrial companies that work in the military. So we group all of them, and within these groups, they look at different thematics. And one of them they had looked at and sort of given up a bit on was a hydrogen one, just because of the issues that I've raised. And now, once LN INNOV started to talk about what we're doing, it attracted immediate interest. It says, oh, at the next one, which is last week of September, newsflash, it's this week. It's, they wanted us to present. So it's just introducing, talking more about what we do, getting more and more people to understand the project we're working on, what we're developing, and getting moving. It follows a very logical business step that have been implemented lately, which is start to talk publicly much later in the development process. Try to stay under the radar for as long as possible. And then when you come up, you're pretty close to having everything lined up. So, we started, well, we can't talk anyway before we filed the patent, but we're pretty advanced with regard to the hydrogen solution, how we're going to build it and get a prototype working. We see how multiple applications, the same thing that we're replicating in our silicone anode battery material strategy. Okay, we're doing a lot of work underneath, and eventually we'll come up with battery results, and people will say, oh, it's going to be exactly the fume silicone. And I think that's the best approach.
Miss Nathalie Mazot, who's the CEO of LN INNOV, said, France has set the goal of becoming the world leader in green hydrogen. So you're definitely in the right place, that's for sure. Considered an energy carrier that would play a key role in achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Novacium's new hydrogen production system will help meet these objectives. So that's a great statement to hear. I think it would carry even more weight with shareholders, if you could tell us a little bit about, who is LN INNOV and how long you've been
Well,
around, or what?
as I said, who is LN INNOV? It's a group of individuals with Nathalie Mazur as the CEO that have their ears and that are part of the French industrial military complex. It's about as best as I can say. And that covers everything. You don't get invited to the GCAT out of nowhere. And they don't do a GCAT specifically on basically what we're doing if we didn't have those level of interest. Of course, it's like any trade groups. It's the way it's going to be done at those levels. We probably should develop, as we will get a working prototype of the Novacium hydrogen reactor system working. We're probably going to do the same thing in the US, same thing in Canada. Probably going to go to NATO to get it, accredited as a technology. We're following the right step that have to be done. That is for the military side of the application. And of course, as we get a working prototype moving on forward, the same thing is going to happen for civilian application. I have absolutely no doubt. So it's the message from this is we're following a clear path toward commercialization, which will generate monetization. As I've said in the previous interview with the hydrogen technology, the capital requirement for this are not the same, not of the same factor as they are for the fume silica or the silicon metal. This eventually will be one where we will be they'll be a part of a team building assembly, but we will own the key part of the technologies, the one that makes it really worth our while, and generate revenue stream from that. So it's just another demonstration that we are moving forward, executing on our plan, that we have multiple lines of development, verticalities, okay? And some of them are pure HPQ, and some of them are with pyrogenesis. But,
well, this starts to answer the question that I've had for you in the past, that people probably remember it a year ago, where I'd start to say, where I'd ask you, Bernard, so what do you think your go-to-market strategy is going to be? Are you going to be doing JVs? Are you going to do direct sales forces? And you said, well, the time will come when we'll unveil all that. So I think this provides a great vision into how you're going to commercialize now. So you're bringing on great teams.
I think this and what we're doing in the fume silica is going to follow the same pathways, which is when we feel comfortable where the technology is, we start talking about it. From talking about it, that attracts, usually from my experience, that attract interest from outside party that I have a more open-minded to new technology. And then from then on, you start signing NDAs. And if everything goes well, you move on to MOUs. And if that works well, then you work on to definite agreements. So that's what we're doing in all those issues. That's what we're trying to accomplish in every one of those issues. All projects will not move at the same time, but there's multiple projects. So HPQ is well positioned, has leverage as leverage really to get things moving.
Is it too much of an assumption, too big an assumption to make that you've talked about defense a couple of times, now you brought on LN INNOV, and you've been invited to the EWG meeting here at the end of September? Would it be a big assumption to make that maybe you've already started to get some expressions of interest from inside the defense industry?
In our previous press
release,
it's going to, well, first of all, let us go present it. Okay, let's be realistic. We announced two weeks ago the patent. Okay, before that we were working in a closed circuit, so not too many people know what we were doing. And then we knew about what we were doing because they are people that have been in contact with the researcher at Novacium. So that's how they knew about us beforehand. But now we just started to talk about it. And as I said, we couldn't talk before until we actually filed the patent. So now that we're starting to talk, it's going to go more. I anticipate that once we've done this presentation, there'll be more. Eventually, over the next year, we'll go to fairs, hydrogen fairs. I can tell you, even my group HPQ, the group in the marketing in Europe under the label HPQ Europe, is also getting traction in that regard. So there is multiple interests in that moving forward. So what that is another another important foundation to what HPQ is doing, which is basically to develop and monetize new technology.
Is the mandate of LN INNOV strictly for defense, or are they also going to be looking at other, maybe a couple of other verticals, or are they laser focused on defense?
Well, they're laser focused on actually one very specific. If you go at the bottom of it, we're talking. They want us to develop for them a 1 kilowatt autonomous system, and that's basically more for battlefield operation, where they, because 1 kilowatt's enough to power up a lot of computers and basically all those issues. So those are one type of system, and they're asking for higher energy type of system. And as we move to 1 kilowatt, we'll go to higher capacity in those issues. So there's the different areas that we're working on.
Last question, kind of revisiting from the last interview, where you said Novacium is currently engaged in discussions aiming to secure grant financing from 2 potential clients.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only been a couple of weeks since that, and we discussed that, which was great. Any status update you give us on that? And I know you can't give us very many details, but is that moving along nicely?
Yeah, I know everything is moving along nicely. Well, one of the clients is also going to come from LN INNOV, so they have also shown an interest also in participating in financing or having access to people that can do it. So it's actually it's an exciting moment for us for all the projects that we have. I mean, we got fume silica that is hitting it outside of the park. We got silicone for battery anodes that's starting to look very, very promising. We got this hydrogen coming along, and we got the QRR technology that will be at and it's also working very, very well. It's I may just have to change the order of I may have to change my first wife.
Well, look, that's the goal of every corporation, right? You don't want to be a one-trick pony. You want to have multiple kicks at the can, and you don't mind which one gets there first and which one gets there second, because the market decides at the end of the day. You don't have to have one go first. Whoever gets the lead, then the others keep following.
Well, it's actually, the technology, the material, we've reached milestone faster. As I said, for the fume silica, we anticipated to reach that milestone of producing commercial quality material at pilot plant scale. We did it at lab scale. So that was something that positively, that's a positive surprise, for all the time that we had, it took us longer. if you think about it, and this is what I find a bit annoying with the reality that being a publicly traded company that does these type of R&D research is that some people only look at the share price as opposed to what we're doing. And I understand that it took us time for some of our projects to get to where they are now, longer than it should have taken us. But in the case of fume silica, we're actually there before we actually said it. So it's one we're actually forward on the timeline that we put forward. So that's why I'm very happy about this. And in the overall scheme of things, that project can put us on the map as a really successful green engineering company. I think it has the potential to do this based on what I'm hearing right now.
Well, I like the sounds of based on what you're hearing, so I'm hoping that's going to be followed up with something we all get to hear by press release in the next few days, few weeks, whatever the case may be. But congratulations again, man, on moving the ball along really nicely. And I like the fact that this headline is MOU on the commercialization of the hydrogen production system. Because as shareholders, investors, we love what you've been doing R&D. We love how you've been moving the ball. And now, obviously, commercializing is the important last part of that process. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're on your way is great, Bernard. And I'm assuming we're going to have you back, because it seems like I get these calls from you and say, George, I'm putting on news tomorrow morning. Book me some time. And glad to see.
I called you after 4, after the market is closed, just to make sure in case somebody wants to complain about regulatory concept. I called you after markets are closed.
Well, you don't even tell them the press release. You just tell me, George, we got something coming out tomorrow.
I know. I was just like,
yeah.
Nobody gets access to preliminary information other than moi.
No, that's for sure. And you know what? I wouldn't use it anyways. The last thing I need is a problem with it. Why'd you go buy 5 million shares of HPQ yesterday at $3.59? one mark for the close. I don't need that. So congratulations, my friend. Enjoy your lime water there, and can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
For anybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcasts on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast player, to Bernard Tourillon, CEO at HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada, HPQ, in the US, HPQ FF. Go do your due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
See you next time.
Hey guys, the video's over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss another great Agoracom small cap video.